I have very mixed feelings about Nevada. I think the overall message of the film is terrible. I'm actually completely against it, but I have to discuss that with a spoiler warning, so I'll leave that for a little bit. I'm a big Kirstie Alley fan, by which I mean I'm in love with Kirstie Alley, so I knew there would be things about this that I liked, but actually her character's not very likeable. I enjoyed her performance, but the film as a whole, I did enjoy. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the overall message, by which I mean I hated it. So I really don't know how I feel about this. It was released in 1997, directed by Gary Teach. I apologise if I've mispronounced that. And it stars Amy Brenneman as Chrysty. And it starts off with Chrysty walking into Silver City, Nevada, where we learn there is a population of 100 and something people, and most of them are women because most of the men are off doing work. And there's an element of mystery surrounding her, and a lot of the other women are very welcoming. She does a really big thing to begin with. She helps somebody out in a really incredible way, and I won't say any more than that, but I will say it got off to a pretty incredible start, a very powerful and unexpected start. And a lot of the women invite her into this place and, treat her as a friend immediately. But McGill, played by Kirstie Alley, suspects there's more than meets the eye and she doesn't trust her. Which on the one hand I can kind of understand when you live in a place that's got 100 and something people. If somebody else comes into the fold, it's going to be, it's going to rock the boat a little bit. So I understand her initial distrust, or her entire distrust, but the way she went about it was not very friendly and not very nice. But there is a secret, a past, if you like, that we have to learn about Chrysty. And actually, as a viewer, we learn it quite quickly, but I won't say what it is. I don't want to give it away. But I will talk about it with a spoiler warning because it's part of the message that I think is horrific. But it's all about her working out what her life is going to be like going forward, if she'll have to go back to the life that she left behind, how these women are going to react to her. And as she spends time in this location, we learn a little bit more about the other women, and some of them have got problems that they're hiding from other people. A lot of people have secrets, and this is something that I think it really helps to stress, that yes, she's come into this Silver City, which is not so much of a city now, with a mysterious past, but the residents there have also got secrets that other people don't necessarily know about. So while you can not trust her, maybe look a little bit closer to home for whom you can trust as well. Kathy Najimy is in this, which I loved. She plays a character called Ruth. I really enjoyed her very friendly approach. She had a very sunshiny attitude, a stark contrast to McGill. So the journey of the film I really liked. I actually thought it developed well. The pacing was good. There were a lot of moments where it's just Chrysty and some beautiful scenery and some delicate music. And after a while, that got a bit old. I did get sick of that and wanted a bit more action or something just a little bit more interesting. But generally speaking, it held my attention. And then the ultimate message kicked in and I just thought, you've ruined it. So I'm going to have to discuss that now with a spoiler warning because it is kind of discussing a lot of the details. I've got nothing else to say that's not a spoiler, so spoilers from now. She leaves because, she leaves a husband and 3 children, and she just disappears. And she gives an explanation for why she did this, and ultimately she doesn't go back. And that's horrific. If you have children, it is your responsibility to care for them and look after them. Screw your own wants, screw your own needs. You have children, you chose to have children, or you chose to keep the children, you look after them. If you need help, there are people who can help. There are places to go to where you can get support. If you have problems with your husband, fine, leave him. Don't leave your children. That is not a good thing to do. That is not being a good mother. Maybe you don't feel like yourself when you've had children. Fine, there are places to go to get help. There are people who can support you. You do not abandon 3 children, one of whom is really quite young, because that will mess them up. That will emotionally scar them. That can damage them for life. Walking out on 3 children without so much as a word of goodbye, that is disgusting. And the film seems to support this. And that's not acceptable. And I cannot accept that message. and I think it's sickening. Yes, there are occasionally cases where somebody might be in a dangerous situation and they have to flee their home, but then chances are the children are also in danger, and you can't just abandon them, you disgusting human being. I am honestly so sickened by the message of this film. Nobody is a good human being if they abandon their children, especially without goodbye, without a word. That is disgusting, that is scarring, that is damaging. I absolutely detest that message. I don't care if Chrysty wasn't feeling like herself. I don't care if life was not comfortable or happy for her. They're her children. They're her responsibility. Yes, also the father's responsibility. Absolutely the case. But if you have children, it takes two people to make children. You can't just abandon them. They are your responsibility. And yeah, sure, if you can't look after them, you don't just abandon them. There are processes. There are ways to go about getting support, getting help. I detested Chrysty by the end of this film. I didn't care what happened to her. I really didn't. So, honestly, Nevada was an enjoyable film apart from the ending, and I actually feel it's disgusting. Any film that celebrates child abandonment doesn't do well. So would I recommend it? I don't know. It's really difficult to say because it's a good film. And then we have that ending, and I just thought, you're a sick, disgusting woman, and I don't like you, and I think you're horrible, and you don't deserve to have children. Which is ironic, because I'm telling her she should go back to her children. I don't know, it's difficult, but it really infuriated me. Any film that supports child abandonment cannot be a good film. I also want to point out, I'm not just saying that because she's the mother. If the father did the same thing, just as bad. Imagine waking up one morning as a young 5 or 6 year old and your father's gone, no idea where he is, no note. That's going to screw you over. That's really going to mess you up. Unless the mother perhaps makes up an excuse saying he had to, I don't even know what the excuse would be, but as a child, that's going to screw you over. So, not a good human being, and therefore I cannot stand Chrysty.